Hello everybody, and welcome back to a World of Tanks video. And it has been a long time indeed since I've had any chance to upload, so let me first explain to you why it's taken so long. That is because I've actually found a job. Now the job is a 40-hour work week, which does mean I have some time left, and I have tried to record, but there's a little bit of a problem. My English is not amazing. I mean, it's not my first language, as you might have noticed by now. I'm Dutch, but unfortunately, when I'm really tired, I really don't talk English much anymore. And on top of that, I'm not actually very interesting to listen to, and yeah, I don't pay much attention to what's going on the screen anyway. So yeah, I have tried recording some stuff, but it really wasn't up to scratch. And the reason I was so tired is not necessarily the work, which of course also tires me, but one of the big problems was that I had to cycle all the way to my job because I didn't have a car yet. So that was a 40-kilometer cycling journey each day, and yeah, it was taking a toll on my my energy, so to say. But now I've got a car, and also the school year is drawing through close, and yeah, I am working at a school, albeit a well, I suppose it's kind of like a university, but not really. It's difficult to explain if you're not Dutch. HBO, if there's any Dutch people out there, that's where I'm currently working. Anyway, on to the game, shall we? Me, Korsakov in the KV4 and Duckenel in the Skandinavian are dropped here on Abbey in a tier 8 match. So we're very happy with top tier heavy tanks, and we get to play in a well, rather nice matchup, if we do say so. And platoon of the three of us together, we're pretty much unstoppable. Yet we do decide to split up. And the reason we decide to do this is me and Korsakov are in very heavily armored tier 8 heavy tanks, definitely heavies, and there was nobody going towards the eastern flank, and really somebody needs to go there. But if all three of us would have gone here, there would have been no tier 8 tanks or no tier 8 heavy tanks to go towards the more traditional heavy line, or at least in my opinion the more traditional heavy line, which would be the western flank at 2 line roughly. The 2 line does lend itself a little bit better to ridgeline warriors, so we decide that Duckenel would be in the right tank to go there, and me and Korsakov with very well armored tanks could go towards the yeah, this flank here, the eastern flank. Unfortunately, the first thing I run into is Super Pershing, who is firing gold. It doesn't really show you because unfortunately this is a 914 replay, and although 915 does play the replays, it does have a few things that don't really match up properly, and we're going to see a little bit more of that later, but that's for later. Let's for now focus a little bit on the gameplay here. The Super Pershing is very reliably penning me because he's loaded to gold, which is understandable because it's normal AP ammo doesn't really cut the mustard, so to say. So me and Korsakov decide to play it slow a little bit, see what where opportunities lie, and we see that this Skoda actually has shots on the Super Pershing, and this really seems to freak out the enemy team, and they make a few rash decisions. Also, this comment decides to make his way up. Just pay attention to this comment, just like I am currently. This is why I'm zoomed out, of course. I see this IS, get to take a shot at him, and here comes the Comet, which dives down, causes 833 damage against himself, and then bounces on me, only to be shot to bits by Korsakov. So, that was a very nice match, and now the Super Pershing for a second hesitates on who to shoot at, and this time is plenty for me and Korsakov to finish him off. Next we take a shot at the IS, which is having some problems also dealing with which enemy to shoot at first. Now I'm very well angled at that point, so he's not going to pen me, and I'm able to take him out. Now we hear from Duckenel that things are not going well on the western flank. Sure, they've advanced a fair bit, but the enemy IS-3 and T-32 are there, and they're taking our team apart basically. So me and Korsakov are deciding to play a bit more aggressively to try and take out or get to their base as quickly as we can, and maybe even flank around. we find a Jackson, and luckily the Tiger II soft stats are absolutely glorious. Far more like a tier 8 or tier 9 medium tank rather than a tier 8 heavy. But yeah, German accuracy, this is basically what this tank does, so I'm able to snap a shot there. Shot in at a Jackson, which is very nice. We're going to see more of the Tiger II's glorious soft stats, and I've definitely embraced it in my gameplay, as you can probably see. This was one of the earlier matches with the Top Gun, and I was a little bit used to still with the 88, and it actually has worse accuracy stats than the Top Gun does. So yeah, there's a very good argument to be made for only using or for blah. That wasn't really logical. What I wanted to say was I'm really excited about soft stats at this point. So yeah, I'm snapshot galore basically. I have decreased the amount of snapshots ever so slightly in my gameplay since, but nonetheless things are going well. Please pay attention to the T54 mod 1 and the T32 on the enemy team, who have been raging in chat pretty much the entirety of the game. I do get artied here, by the way. Korsakov decides to take care of the enemy artillery, and I focus on the OI. I track him in place. For some reason the OI doesn't repair, or either doesn't have a repair kit or decides not to care. But I retrack, get a nice bit of damage in, and Korsakov finishes him off if I'm not mistaken. Yep, he does. We can move forwards, and now we have a problem. There's one Jagdpanther 2 left, but he's going to die very shortly on the western flank. That is. And now there's 3 heavies there. If they decide to push on, we're not fast enough to catch them. If we decide to stay in cap and those 3 tanks come back, we're pretty much sitting ducks. To the T-54, but also to the enemy heavy tanks. So we have a bit of a moment of indecision, but we decide that Korsakov would be in the... Korsakov will go on and deal damage to the heavies or slow them down or whatever. And I deal with the T-54 from the cap circle. Now I do decide not to hide behind the wreck of the KV-85 that was left in the cap circle, the AFK KV-85. That was probably a mistake. I should probably have just made it over there. But it does mean that the T-54 doesn't get to shoot from concealment, which suits me just fine. Now note that this was the first time the T-54 shoots me in the radio. Here he shoots me again in the radio. Does 0 damage both times. And I decide to move around a little bit. And yeah, basically wait for the T-54 to show himself again. He's a one shot for me at this point, so one time he has to show his face and I've got him. Now I see the IS-3 and I take a snapshot. Unfortunately it was a little bit too much of a snapshot. And the mod gets to put a shot into the side of my turret, but he just sits there and waits for me to shoot again. He once again shoots me in the exact same spot that he didn't do any damage before. I get to shoot at him again and he dies. Now apparently that makes me a noob. Whatever, dude. Anyway, at this point in time I decide to stay in the cap. I do load an HE shell if I'm not mistaken, because look at the minimap and the last spotted position of this ELC AMX. And although the game is currently not showing it, I am actually capping. The reason it's not showing it is because I'm in a 9:15 game with a 9:14 replay, basically. Now there's the AMX, and that was the AMX, so I get to take that one out, and both me and Korsakov combined now killed 10 tanks, which is very nice. It's unfortunate that Duckenel wasn't really able to do much this match, but yeah, oh well. He gets plenty of nice matches as well. Unfortunately this wasn't one of them. He took one for the team basically. The T-32 is basically trying to bait us out of the cap circle the only way he knows how, which is insulting everybody. He has been doing this pretty much the entirety of the match. It might be that he's generally thinks that we're noobs because I stay in the cap here or something. Anyway, I don't see myself getting any more damage out of this match. So I basically cap it out. Going to increase the speed a little bit. The T-54, the T-32 actually calls us star Nederlanders, which is Dutch for, well, Dutch, basically. He calls us bleep Dutch, which is very strange to insult somebody with a language which you apparently speak, so you're probably Dutch yourself. Anyway, it's weird. Let's just stop staring at the screen here and get to the post-game stats, shall we? So, here we are, and we can see that this was a very nice match for me indeed, even more so than I initially thought. I knew I did a lot of damage, but to be honest, at the time I didn't really pay attention much to my damage log, and yeah, the result was very, very nice indeed. We can see that I took out the turret and the gunner of this prototype, which is not strange because I was firing in this turret, so makes sense, I suppose. Yeah, we were able to do a very, very large amount of damage. 4,708 to be precise. We can see that the Jagdpanther 2, who was the last alive on the western flank, actually did rather well. He was able to do over 3,000 damage himself, so I suppose we do owe him a lot for this win as well. Very well played there. I'm not going to try and pronounce that name. It's only going to end it's going to end badly, is what I was going to say. We find that Korsakov actually did very well as well. He came second on experience earned. And was able to do a fair bit of damage, and of course a very nice amount of damage, or very nice amount of kills as well. Unfortunately, Duckanel didn't really have a nice match here. Very unfortunate, but he couldn't really be helped. He was facing a dug-in T-32 and IS-3, which is always a difficult thing to deal with. So yeah, next time I hope to. Why don't you send me a nice replay here, Duckanel? I'll feature a nice video of you. I know you've got a few laying around. Anyway, we see that the enemy T-32 had a rather nice match as well. Unfortunately, he was behaving like a very petulant child, which means I can't really feel bad for this fellow. So yeah, detailed report. I fired 19 shots, of which 17 hit and 16 penetrated, which is quite nice considering that I took a fair few snapshots. This would not have been possible in any other heavy, which is why I love the Tiger II so much. Able to do 4,700 damage. I was able to block a fair bit of damage as well, 1,000, which is nice. Moved a fair bit, 2 kilometers, and made a fair bit of profit as well, which is always nice on a non-premium heavy tank. 21,000 credits is always nice, and of course a very nice experience amount, which was also my double of the day, which is very nice as well. Now, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. It was very nice to be finally in a mood to record again and actually producing something that I'm happy with. So yeah, hope you enjoyed as well. I'm hoping there won't be a fair bit less time between my uploads in the coming weeks. So yeah, look forward to some new gameplay sent in by myself. And yeah, I'll see you next time.